I couldn't believe what I found in my wife's messages about her affair partner and their ex life, so Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today, we have a story of a man who was shocked when he saw the attractive messages of his wife and her AP. This is what he did to them, especially AP's wife. Here's the full story with 7 updates. My wife and I have been married since we were 25. We are 38 now. We met in college, got married, and everything has been great. We both graduated, got good jobs, and started our lives together. Me and my wife both made good money, so money was never an issue for us. My wife worked for her dad's small business while I worked for a very large company. After a few years, my boss left the company out of nowhere, and they needed someone to take over. The only person who knew how to run the department was me. So, I got a major pay jump. Better bonus, better benefits, the works. So, at 28, I was making probably 3 times more than my wife. At 28, the same year, my wife gave birth to our first daughter. Then, 2 years later, our second. My wife, due to working for her father, was able to be more diverse in working. Well, around 5 years ago, my father-in-law passed away unexpectedly. That left my mother-in-law and wife in a hard position: sell the company or run it themselves. My mother-in-law had no clue how to run it, so my wife said she would do it. After my wife took the company, it did just as well as when her father ran it. With that being said, my wife got a huge pay increase, more than me. I was proud of her. Going from a basic worker to running a whole company isn't easy. Anyway, our daughters started suffering from not seeing their parents. Me and my wife discussed one of us staying home. She said, "The company you work for will be fine without you. Mine could go under." I agreed, so I quit my job and became a stay-at-home dad and husband. I do everything. I make sure the girls are all taken care of. I cook, clean, fix things, make sure errands are run, you name it. I pamper my wife when she gets home from working. This went well for a while until about a year ago. My wife was always very appreciative of what I did and loved it. She has become very mean lately, like just saying things like, "Do you do anything?" Or, "How about you work for real?" What? I work my crap every day, making sure you don't have to lift a finger when you get home at all. Also, I had a real job, but I quit to raise and take care of the girls, our home, and you. Not to mention, my wife is very sensual, always has been. She quit initiating lovemaking, and when I ask, she is never in the mood. That was very odd. Eventually, I quit trying. I just thought with all the pandemic crap and everything else, she was just very stressed and it was getting to her. I started trying harder to make her happy. Nothing ever worked. Last weekend, my oldest had a softball game, so I get everything ready and we go. During the game, I wanted to take a video for my mom and dad since they live in another state and don't get to see my daughters that often. I forgot my phone, so I asked my wife if I could see hers. She had been attached to it all day, so it would be good for her to get off it anyway. She hands it to me and says she is going to get a drink and a snack. She gets up. I video my daughter when a message comes up on some app. I check, and I can't even fathom what I see. My wife and this guy from her work, who is 8 years younger, are sending attractive videos and pics, talking about how great the lovemaking was, and then me. He is saying how I am some wimp who can't get a real job taking care of his women, and my wife agrees with him. I couldn't believe this crap I saw. I was so devastated and angry all at the same time. I heard my wife coming back, so I closed the app and started videoing. On the ride home, and when we get home, my wife tries to talk to me and I am not in the mood. Eventually, we lay in bed, and for the first time, I guess they hadn't met in a while, she tried to have sex. I tell her I am not in the mood. She says, "If you are going to be a bitch about everything, you can sleep on the couch." I got up and went to the couch and have been there since. I don't know how to move forward with this. I really just don't know where to start. My wife was my everything. My girls are my world, and all of that is dying. Any advice would be wonderful as I really effing need it. Edit. Should have mentioned, I did send screenshots of the conversation to my phone, so I do have the evidence. I want to thank you all for the advice you gave. First off, I do have the texts, pics, videos, and everything. Second, I know the company is 50-50 between her and my mother-in-law. Third, I can't sleep in the bed. I have been sleeping in the guest bedroom every night, and that is where I will be staying. To answer, I have decided to divorce her. Anyway, this morning, I called a firm in another town to avoid anyone finding out. Thankfully, they were able to get me in this morning as someone had canceled. After dropping off my girls, I drove over there. To make a long story short, he is a very good lawyer. I showed him what I had. He said that, luckily for me, with the evidence I have, she will be pretty much screwed in the divorce. Seeing as I quit my job to raise our girls, she is never home, she is having an affair, and she prioritizes this man over me and my girls, she will lose very easily. He basically said we will get child support, alimony, I will keep the house, and she will have to pay for it as long as my girls live there. Also, he stated that we could even try for more money since I am considered no longer viable in the working world to help me pay for more education to get a job. Some of you are right, he said to not work until after the divorce is over. He said, since you are the husband, if you have a job, you can lose a lot of this. He asked if I wanted full custody. I said that I don't mind my wife seeing her girls on the weekends every once in a while, but I would want mostly full custody. He said, since she had an affair in the marital home, I can basically do what I want, since he stated that bringing over a strange man to the house put the girls in danger and makes her guilty. So, I will be going for full custody, where she can get weekends once, maybe twice a month. No man will be allowed around my girls, and if there is, she could face problems from me if I find out. I just don't want that pass around my girls. He eventually said to keep quiet until the draft is ready, and then he will issue someone to serve her and have it issued that she is required to leave the home. He said he should have it done sometime next week. He asked me to just keep quiet. He said, I know it is hard and you are upset, but just shut the hell up until everything is done. Once the divorce is over, you can say whatever the hell you want about her, but until then, keep your mouth shut. He said, act as normal, no fights, no issues, sleep in separate beds, and no sex. I said, no problem, but why? He said, trust me, just don't do it and do as I say. I just got home and have started getting ready for dinner and acting and being normal. I will be acting as if everything is okay until she is served next week. Thank you all for the advice and some very harsh words. And to the one guy who asked for my wife's nudes, just know it seems all you have to do is ask her and she will send them, so it isn't that hard, it appears. Quick edit. He recommended I get an STD test plus a DNA test on my girls. When I asked why, he said it is pretty rare that incidents like this are the first time they have happened. So yeah, that effing hurt to hear and scared the hell out of me. I have been feeling down, and things have been rough. To preface, I have talked to my lawyer about these posts. I didn't go into too much detail, but they did tell me that, as long as I keep them brief and not super specific, I can post. I just have to be careful about what I put on to not leave too many details. That said, here is a quick update. Like I said, I'll be brief and not too specific for legal reasons. We will start with the tests. I was able to get an STD test on myself and a paternity test on my girls. Thankfully, I have no disease and am clear. Since I have been pretty much sexless with her for the last year, I wasn't all that surprised. Now, for the one that I am sure most of you are wondering, the test on my two girls. Am I the dad? I will always be their dad regardless of the results. However, I am here to say that yes, I am their biological father. I have never been so happy to know that I am their dad. Never thought I would have to question it, but here we are. As for what has happened with my soon-to-be ex, she is out of the house, and I have been granted full temporary custody. In the future, maybe a while from now, I will go into more specific details. However, for now, she is out of the house. My lawyer set everything up for me to get my girls and make sure that we legally handled her being removed from the home. It wasn't pretty, but details for another time. She was served at work, and from what I know, it wasn't pretty. Like I said though, details for another time. My girls know what is going on. My oldest knows we are separating. One of her friend's parents split for the same reason. She has seen what happened with her friend and doesn't want us to split. She has been crying for me to let mommy come home. I will be getting them in with a child therapist to explain and help them understand, per the direction of my lawyer. My youngest just wants mommy to come home and misses her. It kills me and makes me feel like a terrible father. They probably hate me now. Sometimes I think I should just let their mother cheat on me to keep the family unit to make my girls happy. I just can't do that. Sometimes I think about talking about allowing an open relationship and waiting until the girls are older, but that won't work for me. Plus, I know the girls will pick up on it and will not like that mommy and daddy don't love each other. As for my ex, she is living with her mother at this point. My mother-in-law has called me and asked to meet. I agreed, and we will meet at some point. She didn't ask for details, as she said we will talk later, but begged me not to take her granddaughters away from her. I said, you are a great and loving grandmother, and as long as you can separate my girls from what is going on between your daughter and me, I see no issue with you being able to see them, and I will not take them out of your life. She thanked me, and that is it. My ex has been trying to call me and text me, trying to figure out us. Under the direction of my lawyer, he has had it set up so that I can talk to her through a trackable method, and it is purely about the girls. No more, no less. That is it for now. I will probably keep updating, and once this is all over, I will make one big update with all the details I have to be careful about for now. I had Thanksgiving with my soon-to-be ex and mother-in-law. I did this purely for the girls and made sure with my lawyer that this was only about the girls and not about reconciliation. That was taken care of first. I met with my mother-in-law pre-Thanksgiving. We had a pretty mutual discussion, mainly just about how we will handle my daughters. Afterward, my mother-in-law did tell me some stuff about my soon-to-be ex. I guess my soon-to-be ex was cheated on by her high school boyfriend. I didn't even know she dated anyone. I guess this guy came from one of those families, according to my mother-in-law, and they told her to avoid him. Well, I guess one night she caught him with his head under another girl's dress and tongue deep in a girl's jewelry box. While my mother-in-law couldn't believe she would do this, she had a couple of boyfriends before meeting me. They met in college, but she knew they wouldn't last. She said that as soon as she met me, she found her son-in-law. She said she is so sorry for her daughter's actions and will make sure that she doesn't try to do anything problematic with the divorce. Anyway, a couple of days before Thanksgiving, my mother-in-law asked me to come over for dinner with the girls. I asked, "Will she be there?" She said yes. I said, "I can't be with her there." She said she understands but asked if we could put on the holiday one more time for the girls. She said, "I know you have a lawyer. Ask them, and if they say it is a bad idea, I get it." I did that and they said, "Tell your wife via the app this is purely for the girls to avoid any confusion." So I did. She had contacted me before about coming over. She has been begging me to see me and the girls. The girls have been begging me to see their mom. I swallowed my pride for my girls, and we went. It was awkward. My soon-to-be ex gave our daughters a hug. Fine, then tried to hug and kiss me. I just avoided her and went to give my mother-in-law a hug. My soon-to-be ex tried to act like husband and wife and was trying to talk to me. I answered with yeses and nos and helped my mother-in-law finish dinner and clean up. My mother-in-law is religious and wanted to do a prayer. My soon-to-be ex sat next to me. I held my daughter's hand. My wife tried to grab mine. I pulled away. I know it may seem crappy, but I don't want her touching me. I am an atheist, but out of respect for my mother-in-law, I go along with it. Dinner was fine. Again, my soon-to-be ex tried to act like we are going to be married and asked about Christmas and vacations I guess she wants to take with us as a family. When she mentioned this stuff, I knew going over was a mistake. We finished dinner, and I pretty much got up, cleaned my daughters and my dishes, and was ready to go. My daughters wanted to watch a movie with their mother that we always watch. I let them, and my soon-to-be ex tried to cuddle next to me on the couch. I sat in the chair. After that, my mother-in-law was very mad at my soon-to-be ex for how she acted. I could tell by the looks she gave her. The movie ended, and we started to leave. My daughters fell asleep, so I carried them to the car. When I went to grab something, my soon-to-be ex grabbed me in tears, begging to work on things and saying that she wants to be a family and is so sorry for what happened. Before I could say anything, my mother-in-law grabbed her by the hair, not joking, yanked her, told me good night, and began yelling at her daughter. So, yeah, I told my lawyer everything, and he said, "Nothing indicated reconciliation, and you made that clear in your messages. You are fine." My wife is once again calling and begging to work on us. She gets left on red. I will only talk about the girls. I am sure they are going to want to do the same for Christmas. I don't know if I can or if it is okay. Once again, I will discuss this with my lawyer. This will not be long, but things have gotten very bad for my girls. Basically, my girls had 2 sessions this week with their therapist. The first one was good. My girls came out seemingly more at peace and calmer than usual. I talked to the therapist after, and she seemed to be very good and understood my girls well. So, I took them to their second session, and crap is completely effed. Basically, the therapist explained in age-appropriate terms the reason me and their mother are separating. Their mother cheated, had an affair, and betrayed me. I knew eventually she would, but I didn't think it would happen this soon. I went to get my girls, and basically, it was a burst of tears and them climbing all over me, giving me hugs and crying, saying they love me. I am happy they love me, but this is not what I wanted to happen with my girls. I asked the therapist, "Why did you tell them?" She said, "The girls knew you two are separating, and the girls noticed you seem to be really mean and unloving with their mother. Your girls aren't stupid." She told me. "They know how you are and they know how you treat their mom. They wanted to know why you are separating. I tried to walk around it the best I could," she said. But the girls are not going to progress in therapy if we don't tell them. I am not going to go into detail on what exactly she said to them, but it was age appropriate. They now know the age appropriate version of their mother being unfaithful. I think my oldest could maybe handle this and be okay, but not my youngest. So, we get home, and my girls won't let go of me. They were literally crying the whole night. I ordered food, put on their favorite movies in my bedroom, and we laid there all night. They fell asleep, and I went to the bathroom and just cried. My soon-to-be ex doesn't even realize the pain she is causing our girls. I don't know how I am going to deal with this. The therapist told me we could try medication for a bit until they get used to the new normal. I refused to do so, which she supported and said it was just an option, as I am not drugging them. Disclaimer, she cannot give the drugs. She said they would need to see their primary doctor, who would probably diagnose my girls with something that would allow them to medicate them. I would rather deal with my daughter's emotions the healthy way. I won't have to worry about Christmas as my daughters hate their mother now. How do I know? My oldest said she never wants to see her mom again. My youngest follows what her older sister says, even though she may actually agree. I was shocked. I said, "You don't hate her. You may be mad, but you don't hate her. She loves and cares about you." My oldest just said, "No, she doesn't," and then just cried into my arms until she fell asleep, and so did my youngest. So, this is my life now. The girls are doing better. They are still going to the same therapist, but they are doing better. Kind of coming to the realization, my daughters say they don't hate their mother anymore. However, they have made it very clear that they don't want to see her for a long time, their words, not mine. We will see how that goes. My wife has been made aware that the girls know. She tried calling my girls, and they answered, but my wife has since been a bit more respectful of mine and my girls' boundaries. I think the realization is starting to hit her. Anyway, about the AP. I already knew he was a piece of crap, but this man is awful. Someone asked if there was an OBS, other betrayed spouse. I didn't know, so I started looking through some stuff from my wife's work. I was able to find a piece of paper with all employees' numbers and emergency contacts. I called his, it was his wife's. Turns out, he is married. I didn't think he was. Also, he has a toddler. I told his wife, and she didn't believe me and hung up. A little later, she calls me back and asked to meet. I met her, showed her everything, and she asked if we could go to my car. We did. Within a second of closing the door, she burst into tears, crying, saying, "How could he do this to me? What did I do wrong?" etc. I told her, "You did nothing wrong," and gave her my lawyer's number. After that, she asked how long. I said, "I think a year, maybe a tad longer." She then went from upset to effing pissed. Then she proceeded to rip her hair off, it was a wig. She told me she had just beaten cancer. I guess after their child was born, they found some stuff odd. While she was in the hospital, they found a tumor. So, over the last year and a half she had 2 surgeries, went through chemo, and was on medication. She looked very good, so I was surprised. She said she beat it and is better, but they haven't had sex in like 2 years. She said, "Between my pregnancy and cancer, I couldn't." She got really sick while pregnant, and then her cancer just killed her almost. Once she started feeling a bit better, she felt horrible about herself. She started gaining weight from the meds, lost her hair, and wasn't as pretty as she used to be. She said, "I was now at the point where I could make love and was going to surprise him here soon for being a caring, loving husband. That is off the table now." She started crying about her child growing up in a broken home, and I consoled her. She then tried to make love to me. I said, "No, you are not in the right state of mind, and this is not healthy." She thanked me for my honesty and then proceeded to ask for the evidence. I gave it to her, and she went home. We have texted a couple of times since. We are both betrayed spouses, so we will keep in contact. To the few people who mentioned looking for the OBS, thank you. I didn't even think about it. So, I am already being asked about whether I had Christmas with the OBS. The answer is yes, I did. It was very nice, honestly. It was wonderful, the whole day was really amazing, all things considered. I laid out a lot of the girls' presents from Santa. This will probably be the last year my oldest believes in Santa, so I needed to make it count. Anyway, I laid out the presents early, it was still dark, no sun, and the girls woke up probably within 15 minutes, saying that Santa had come. I dragged my tired self out of bed, and the girls opened their presents. They were very happy. Afterward, I popped on a movie, and the girls snuggled up next to me and fell asleep instantly. I eventually got up and made some coffee. My youngest woke up and said, "I'm hungry, Daddy." So, I put an apron on her and let her help me make breakfast. My oldest then woke up and we ate. They played with their presents and had a blast. It made me very happy. Later in the evening, I needed them to get ready so they could go see their mother and grandmother. I am usually stricter about them being ready, but with everything happening, I admit I've been morally lenient. They got ready and said they really didn't want to go see their mom. I told them, "Your mom loves you. My therapist has said I need to encourage their relationship for proper growth. Plus, if I don't, she said my wife could use it against me in court as isolation." The therapist also said the girls can make the decision to have a relationship with their mother when they are older. Additionally, my wife knows of the therapist, and they have talked. The therapist basically told my wife, "You betrayed your husband, and it's clear that your husband is the girl's favorite. They are going to need to see a lot from you for them to eventually trust and love you again." Then I said to my girls, "Don't punish grandma for your mother's actions. Go for grandma." They agreed. I took them, and it was pretty easy going. When they got there, my mother-in-law came out and grabbed the girls' things. They were going to stay the night for Christmas. My mother-in-law asked if they could. I asked my lawyer, and they said it was fine. However, they advised me not to leave them there for days or do it often, but that one night was fine. I told the girls that if they wanted to come home at any time, all they had to do was call me, and I would come get them. As I was leaving, my soon-to-be ex walked out. I don't know what they said, but my soon-to-be ex said something to my mother-in-law, who had a confused face, and my mother-in-law gave her a stern face. My soon-to-be ex then looked at me with tears in her eyes and waved. I just drove off. I had left food in the oven and everything on warm for the OBS to show up. She eventually did, and when she arrived, she didn't have her toddler. I asked where they were, and she said her in-laws wanted to see them for Christmas, and so did their father. Basically, she ran the same deal as me through her lawyer. I was like, okay. She was in a very pretty dress, leggings, fluffy boots, and a nice wig. We ate dinner and just talked about our pasts and got to know each other. After dinner, we went to the couch, and I turned on a movie. We talked about other stuff. Eventually, I got a bottle of wine. I don't drink often, but I usually like a certain wine on Christmas. She asked if she could have some. I said, "Are you okay too?" She said yes, so I gave her some. Our conversation went from our past to our interests to our current issues, crying, and eventually joking and laughing. As we drank more, we joked more. 2 bottles later, that never happens, our conversation turned sensual. We talked about kinks, what we want, miss, and other stuff. We both found out that we are similar in this aspect, pretty much everything. She said, "Your wife was lucky and effed up." I said, "So did your husband." I know some of you said I should affirm her last try at me by saying that she is pretty, but I just thought it was a bad thing to do. When it came to lovemaking, I did, and she said she knows. I said, "You can actually take that wig off if you don't want to wear it. You look amazing without it. You are very beautiful with a pixie cut." She did and cried out a thank you. We kept talking about that stuff, and eventually, we started watching a movie cuddling. Now, mind you, we were both inebriated. When me and my wife used to cuddle, my soon-to-be ex actually liked it, and it relaxed her when I would rub her chest, more like a chest massage. I was doing it to her out of habit. Eventually, she said, "That feels good." I freaked out and stopped, saying, "I am so sorry, I didn't realize I was even doing it." She said it was fine and asked if I would keep doing it as it felt good and relaxed her. I asked, "Are you sure?" She said yes, so I did. Not going to lie, I was aroused. She noticed and started rubbing me. I said, "Whoops, I'm sorry." She asked if I wanted her to stop. I said, "Don't feel like you have to or anything." She said she wanted to. So, we did that for a few minutes before she kissed me, and I kissed her back. This eventually led to her unzipping my pants and her giving me head. Then, I returned the favor by forcing her down and giving her oral, which led to some very rough lovemaking in the living room, kitchen, and office. We eventually ended up in my bed, where we had more passionate lovemaking, lots of kissing and very slow. When we finished, we cuddled, cried, and eventually fell asleep. The next morning, we ate breakfast and got showered. I asked, "Did you plan on this?" She laughed and said, "No, but a girl always has an extra pair of clothes." She then asked me as she was leaving, "Did you feel anything last night?" I was honest and said, "Yes, but we need to make sure that we are worried about us and our kids and that these feelings aren't false." She agreed and said, "We will explore them later." She gave me a kiss on the cheek, thanked me for a great night, and said, "I'll text you later." I went and picked up my girls. They actually had a good time. They said Mom was on her best behavior, for the most part. So, yeah, right now, I just finished prepping dinner and will be spending the evening with my girls. Thank you, everyone. These Reddit posts are like my therapy. LOL. Things have just been very busy, so this won't be too long. Also, I don't blame you for thinking this is fake. Reddit is full of liars, crapsters, and storytellers. Anyway, the girls are doing much better. Between their therapists and activities, they are having a much better time. They are still having their moments, but they are doing better. As for me and OBS, we still talk almost daily but have done nothing physical since. We have met once since, and we discussed that even though we do not regret what we did, we shouldn't have done it. Now, for my soon-to-be ex, for a few weeks after Christmas, she was still trying pretty hard to get me to talk to her. However, that has, for the most part, stopped. She now has a lawyer. My lawyer was made aware and has said that our meetings will be coming soon. She has realized that I am actually done and that she can't get me to change my mind. I am sure they will want to try reconciliation, but that will not be happening. She is still calling and texting me every now and again to try to get me to reconsider, but she gets left on red. As for the OBS's ex, he has actually been arrested. I won't go into too much detail for now, but I guess he confronted my soon-to-be ex at work, and they got into a verbal altercation where she threatened to call the cops. He then assaulted her, which led to the workers there getting involved and pretty much dropping him. Cops showed up, arrested him, and my soon-to-be ex is pressing charges. I am sure he will be getting a lawyer against her for their affair, but I haven't heard anything. My mother-in-law told me about this and said, "You can see her if you want." I guess he blacked her eye and busted her lip. She said, "Karma is a size, and this is her soul." I have not seen my wife, and neither have the girls, since the incident. Other than this, unless something crazy happens, you probably won't hear from me until after our first meeting with our lawyers. Comment. Wow, imagine what your wife is thinking. I threw away my entire life, destroyed my family, and ruined myself financially for a guy who beat the crap out of me at my job. The AP has criminal domestic-type battery charges against him. He can try to sue her all he wants, but those criminal charges have damned any hope he has. It was in a public place with witnesses. He's effed. For now, take steps to protect myself and my kids. There's no telling what AP might try against you and your kids. Check with my lawyer to see if you can take any active steps about this. Even a temporary restraining order would be helpful. As for your soon-to-be ex getting hurt, you have to become disciplined and stoic. She's not your problem any longer. Whether good or bad, associated with her infidelity or not, it's not your monkey, not your circus. Wash my mind of her in everything but the divorce and co-parenting. I suggest that as a better foundation to scrub your learned behavior of being aware of her as a spouse, your process of unlearning, and to make it easier to move on with less resentment. It would be healthier for your mind and heart. This is where you will start pressing for full custody, with only supervised visitation for her. She has proven her choice in men is flawed to the point that my kids could be exposed to violence. Don't take my boot off her neck. I hope you still have all the evidence from your initial discovery to show she checked out of the marriage long ago, not to mention the police report from AP's assault on her. I know my mother-in-law is not at fault, and you want my kids to have her in their lives, but be wary that she doesn't try to sneak my soon-to-be ex in for secret visits. I was thinking that it's going to sound better in court that the therapist explained the situation to them without you in the room. Your soon-to-be ex can't claim that you were leading the conversation in your favor if you weren't there. Even the girls themselves won't wonder someday if it was even true. A neutral third party, whose only job in this case is to keep them safe and help them handle the rough spots. I think the therapist knew what she was doing, and maybe now that it's not so fresh you can see that too. You're doing great. Just keep your head above water. Other comment. OP. I'm glad to hear you are well. I'm not surprised that AP has gone off the rails and also has retained a lawyer. Keep up the positive attitude for your kids and continue to hold your head high. Stay strong, man. Hopefully, you'll be out of this mess soon. You might want to be cautious of AP, especially since it seems he has a violent streak. If he finds out about the relationship between you and OBS, take some preemptive measures using his assault on your wife as a reference.